walk that I'm blessed. See the love of God in my flex, I'm so blessed. 20K just on my chain, say less. I text every day to get dressed, so blessed. Been through the storm and the rain, still blessed. Had a couple heartaches and pain, still blessed. Handle the pressure from fame, still blessed. Just God called my name, so blessed.
Yes, sir, I'm blessed, don't play boy, cause I got it mad. Tailor made just for this fit, I'm gon' cut the slack. I'm the man, good hearted shorty with me acting bad. Shout out to mans that done tightened up since they became a dad. Shout out to me.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cobain Report. I am Rock Cobain. This is
Tramell.
Season's still out of town, but today we have Nikki Stee in the building. What's up, Steve?
What's going on? Hey, tell C's, why am I doing your job, bro? Where are you at?
Come back to town, brother. But anyway, you know the vibes. Welcome. Today we have a very, very special guest. I don't want to waste no time. Tramell, I'm going to let you hop into the intro.
Listen, we have a very special Detroiter with us today, representing Benedictine High School, as well as a Wayne State University graduate. Emmy Award-winning assignment editor at WXYZ TV, co-chair of My Brother's Keeper Challenge, former DPD, a mental health advocate that has started the Protect Your Crown movement. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Detroit City Council President, Pro Tem James Tate.
Yeah!
Appreciate you.
We are so glad to have you here.
Blessing to be here, brother.
Man, we have been looking forward to this interview for a while. You know, like I said a little bit earlier, it was the perfect timing now. You know, we waited on the Protect Your Crown to kind of get this out here. This is a great message that you are bringing to the city. I want to start by, I guess I'm going to ask you a little bit about Protect the Crown. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what inspired the Protect the Crown movement.
So, I mean, I like many folks, go through ups and downs in life and, put the mask on and just keep it pushing. Yeah. Put the mask on, keep it pushing. Put the mask on, keep it pushing. And then all of a sudden it catch up to you. And then when it comes out, it explodes. Mm-hmm. And I've had many of those situations. Well, really, my turning point internally for me was during the pandemic. Here I am, like everybody else, struggling, trying to go through it. You know what I mean? There's no roadmap to a 100-year pandemic that nobody's seen right in this lifetime. But my level of responsibility was different in the scale of it, right? So here I am, along with my colleagues in government, local government, trying to keep the people safe, trying to keep my family safe, trying to stay safe as well. And again, it's not different than anybody else, but just the scale of it, right? So in addition to trying to keep them safe, I still got to figure out where to get the PPE, where to get the vaccine, where to get the testing, while I'm still trying to keep my own family going, right? So I literally, and I say this, I lost my mind, man. All day long for months, I felt a sense of alert, or not alert, just not even anxiety. It's a couple of steps above that. I mean, I just could not sleep. My heart was racing. Couldn't get out and go to the doctor, get it checked out like you wanted to. So they're doing the telehealth. So you're sitting there like, you're telling me, I already know that. Just take some time, go and step away. I can't step away, right? So I lost. I mean, when you see some of those older photos, you see me, I had a little bit more, on me. Yeah. But lost about 40 pounds, not intentionally. And I said at that point, I've got to figure out myself how to get out of this space. And when I do, I can't come back. And it flirts to this day, and I didn't have therapy at that time. But what I did was, I got on a treadmill, actually. And I know some people say, well, that's why you lost weight. That ain't why I lost weight. I wasn't doing that much. But it was just to shock my brain into doing something different than just thinking about the doom and gloom and, how do we save everybody, save the world without having any idea how we're going to do it, being real. So that kind of spawned, but like a lot of folks, like I said, my entire life, been having some challenges, been trying to deal with it, had some therapy. And I didn't talk about it a lot with grown folk. And we talk to grown folk about this thing, they want to weaponize it. So I would always go, whenever they invite me to speak to kids at schools, career day, read a book, I always pause and talk about the mental health and really let them know I'm just like you. The same things you guys have right now today are the same things that I have right now today. So that doesn't mean that it's just going to go away just because you get a little title. They clap for you when you come in and make a big to-do about you when you walk into the room. But guess what? I still got this anxiety I can't get rid of, y'all. So, but what I got to do is, what I have to do is manage it. So I take medication. I try to meditate. Still ain't got there yet. I'm working on it.
Working on your grounding.
Right? I'm working on
grounding.
But the one thing that I've learned to do, and it sounds so remedial, is to step away. And some people don't understand it, accept it. When you turn the phone off, do not disturb. Man. They get a little like, well, why you ain't call? I called you today. I wasn't there yesterday. Right? I had a lot. Well, you always on the voice. I always got to get your voicemail. But we talking, right? So what's up?
No, yeah.
That's kind of where Protect Your Crown came from for me internally. I said I got to do something, but I got to make sure that it's something that's larger than just my family, a small group of people in my district. This is citywide, and when you're starting to see the ramifications of just being closed up for 2 years, and when people got out, we exploded.
Yes, crime, everything went up.
So Protect Your Crown is a mental health advocacy as well as awareness campaign that we're doing. But it's more than just talk. I mean, we want to tell people tools, give them information on how you can access mental health treatment. But we also want to help further demystify, give people the courage to step up and say, I need it. And even if you're not saying it, just go and take care of yourself. Loudly, quietly, whatever you have to do. And we were talking about this earlier the other day. A lot of the things that we see as criminal, deviant behavior, and it absolutely is criminal, deviant behavior, but the nexus is the fact this is mental illness that has not been treated, trauma that has not been treated, and then, as I said before, you bottle it up, put the mask on, it explodes.
You got to get to some of these shelters and have some of these conversations. I work with a lot of people in shelters, and this mental health thing is so real, and what they do is they box them. They say, oh, you got 2 felonies from whatever, so now you're just in that box. When really, like you said, the stem of it was mental health to start with. I've seen a ton of them, and they just lock them up and put them away, but that's really not, and for me to hear you, somebody who I look up to as a city councilman, to be able to admit and talk about mental health so freely and so open, this is a new generation, because I know guys who wouldn't even dare because of the strength and the facade of, I got to be strong. But to hear you, a leader of the city, to say, even I, while saving you, while making sure you were okay, had my own battles. That's the realest, most transparent thing I've heard from somebody at that level of power. It's a hard thing to run the city. Then when you're in a pandemic, you have to worry about every little nuance. Then it's no longer, we can't even go outside. Nope. We can't talk to each other, can't touch each other, can't nothing.
We know what this is going to look like, right?
No.
I watched Walking Dead, right?
Man, yes.
And I remember the first time I went to the pharmacy. I went to Rite Aid. And I said, well, let me get me, because it's all going down. Let me get some
Mucinex or something.
No, I was trying to make my own hand sanitizer because you couldn't find that. So let me find some alcohol. Couldn't find alcohol.
The little things.
Oh, where we going? What's about to happen?
Yeah, wake you up.
Remember when it was time to go to the grocery store? Just going to the grocery shop.
Nothing there.
Nothing there. But it felt like a mission, right? It felt like a mission when you there. You didn't talk to nobody.
No, had the mask up.
Had the mask up. Anybody talk you or cough, you looking like
you ready to scream.
You see what I mean? And that 2 years of that. 2 years of that. Right?
Yeah.
And so those are our kids that went through that.
Oh my
grew
God.
Through it.
They struggle, I think, the most with it.
Well, you know what? When you look at the stats that we already have, and we don't have a lot of stats. That's why I'm going to talk about this in a minute about the survey, why it's important for us to have a survey. One of the stats that we do have is that, and this was actually pre-pandemic, 1 out of 4 DPS-CD students had indicated that they had thought about committing suicide pre-pandemic.
1 out of 4?
1 out of 4.
A quarter? Jesus
out of 4.
Christ.
Right? Now, those are only ones that are being honest. Those are the ones that have actually been surveyed, because you didn't survey every student, but that's the sample that we have.
That's crazy.
Right?
Our babies.
City of Detroit, last year, 13,000 plus calls to the police department for mental health concerns. 4,600 of them for suicide. That's what we're living in right now.
Deep.
So we can't stop.
No.
I mean, that's when I see those numbers, when I see that and the impact, protect your crown.
Yeah.
You know, and if I got to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
then I got to be vulnerable, but I got to help do my best. Once again, save my people.
Yeah.
And I feel like with protecting your crown, I think it's like a lot of measures that should be taken like prior to, people having those mental health breakdowns. I was thinking in particular, right, about conflict resolution. It seemed like we practiced that probably in grade school and then it just kind of went away. But a lot of issues that happens when people, have like violent situations, like I was sharing with you about, the funeral I went to earlier, long live like Lou, Luzelle Etheridge Jr. Shout out, long live, right? And so I feel that like conflicts are a lot of times that like end in like violent actions. And then
they be ready to crash out now, like over anything, ready to crash out like crazy. Like
and it ends up, right, if you could have like sat down and talked to that person beforehand, or if you could have been able to have some type of tools to resolve whatever the issue was. Because like you said, they're crashing out and it might be a situation of like, it's still a stepping on my shoe, something as simple as that. And it doesn't like, measure up, you know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about something like conflict resolution being, implemented within the Protect Your Crown?
So I think conflict resolution is extremely important. But I think one of the things that we see is fear taking over folks. And again, it's masqueraded as something else. You know what I mean? Fear. When you see folk who over the course of their lives, and we talk about that trauma again, if they were children when they were younger and they learned that in order to keep people off of you, you scream or you jumping or you act a certain kind of way, why would they do anything different after they are 20-some years old? Or God bless, 40 years old, right? That is what I've now learned is a way to keep me. This is about survival.
Yes.
This has kept me alive. But I'm going to continue to do it.
The crazy thing is you say it about the older generation, right? But they're the ones who won't admit that they even need the help. So I'm gonna be vulnerable right now, right? I've had this conversation, with my father. My father's a little bit older, of course, right, than I am, But, I've had these talks with him because I myself deal with mental health issues sometimes. I've been diagnosed with certain things. I take the medicine. I used to take the medicine. Now I'm a little bit more freer and I medicinally medicate. Thanks to you. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But thanks to you, I'm able to do that in the freedom of my responsibilities. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm able to learn that, when I do get heightened or things are, for me at that point, I'm able to kind of like you said, take that step back, but now I'm able to kind of medicate and get my life, together. But older guys like my dad and them, they don't do that.
Keep pushing.
They don't have anything. And they don't even want to talk about it. You say, hey, I have a number for you because guess what? It's free. And they're like, I ain't calling that. I'm not doing that. It's something about that disconnect with the older generation, or maybe it's just men,
Where you think that comes from, though? Like, why do you feel like that is? Because I was having this conversation the other day with somebody about, I feel like as a black community as a whole,
we afraid.
We really don't. I don't know. There's like a stigma where it's just like I don't really need the help. Like, no, I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like
my mom too. It's women.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a gender thing because my mom is like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pray about it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I feel you, but it's health. Like your body has health, your brain has health too.
Right.
So if you're missing something, you need those components. You know what I mean? When your diabetes, you need a little, insulin, but you need a little something.
But why do you feel like that is though?
Out.
Why do you feel like that's?
I think it's fear. But that's why I'm so surprised that he's able to be so open and vulnerable about it because. I love you, but he a little bit older than us too. But he's able to, you know what I mean? I done watched you transition over 14 years, Doc,
Sir.
So just watching that, but he's able to be vulnerable. I don't know what it is with certain men, where they're afraid to talk about it. I mean, it's like don't you put that on me. And when it's really like, it's a muscle, it's a brain. Like you need help sometimes with it. What do you think about it with his answer?
I think that's a question we all should be asking ourselves, especially when we start talking about some of our older folks. Why are you so resistant? Part of the reason why I believe they're resistant, even those who are older than me, I believe is because of a lack of trust in systems, right? So when you look at our generations that came before us, look at how the systems treated them. Whether you talk about the health system, where they were treating us like guinea pigs, right? Doing all kind of things to us just to try to figure out if it worked for them. When you look at the government, they plowed through our neighborhoods, right? Displaced us. So trust in systems, I think, is the biggest factor when you start talking about older folks, and they've learned how, once again,
They don't even go to the bank. They money
get
underneath the
put it underneath,
bed.
right? The systems, because I don't trust that if I put it in the bank, I can get it out when I need it. Why? Because it happened to somebody. All this stuff is rooted in some reality. Now, for us, we understand now because of the things that they did and the fights that they fought and the victories that they won. We now are much more free to trust systems, to challenge systems, because we know when you challenge, you
Things
win.
change,
You win.
Yeah.
But I don't. Once again, we go back to whatever I learned along the way. I'm going to continue to do that because that's what helps me survive. So I'm going to survival of the fittest.
Now you mentioned about systems, right? And I think the correctional facilities are a system, right?
That's another one.
And I think that what happens with people that go into these correctional facilities, their behavior is supposed to be corrected, but some of them come out with mental, issues because of what they've seen and what they've experienced. Is there anything maybe looking to put in place where can help inmates transition back a little bit more? Because the job placement, that's one thing, but they need more so to get their mind corrected first, you know what I mean, before you go out and get a job. You know what, I have not, and to be honest with you, again, trying to figure out where this goes moving forward, because I've said that as long as I'm in office, how long the people keep me here, this is going to be a part of what I do. This is now embedded in my in anything that I do. So have not gone as far as talking to correctional facilities or even talking to our folks to deal with that portion of our community afterwards, because that portion of our community is in our neighborhood and our families. But trying to, again, stair-step this thing, so not trying to take everything on at the same time, because that's very labor intensive to make sure you do it the right way, because you can also steer somebody in completely the wrong direction, and once again they stop trusting systems. So have not done it yet. That's a beautiful idea, and that's something that we're going to take back and try to see if we can weave it in a way and in a time frame that makes sense for us. Absolutely. Appreciate
Talk to me about what started you in politics. Talk to me about that road.
Yeah, so my background is in radio, TV, film. Never, ever, ever want to do anything in government whatsoever. My first job was at Kroger as a bag boy.
Shout out to Kroger.
Shout out to Kroger. Telegraph in West Chicago, right?
Neighborhood.
Did that. After that, I had a job as it's a place called RPS, which is similar to UPS. They're out of business now, out in Redford. Putting stuff on, putting it on a conveyor belt, putting it on the truck, stacking it up, all that. Then ended up having an internship at Channel 7. And once the internship's over, hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. If you need anything, give me a call. They called me. They called me. Now, I hadn't graduated from Wayne State at the time. And it was for a production assistant for the morning show. So I come in, roll the teleprompter, rip the scripts for the reporters and stuff. So that was my first entryway. I'm like, oh man, this is cool.
That's not a bad first
I like
gig.
this, right? Right. And then on the weekends, I was the weekend assignment desk editor. Fast forward, I graduated. They offered me a full-time grown folk job.
Adult
They didn't
job.
pay me like that.
Yeah.
They didn't pay me like that because I was still low man on the totem pole. I didn't realize that I made
Ain't no money in media. It's like, no.
Well, no, it was, right? And it is. It's just a matter of making sure that you fight for it and be in the right space. I realized I found out that I was making $36,000 less than the next person.
Jinkies.
So
that's a whole salary, doc.
Yeah,
So you think
they would
took
treat me like
advantage?
that.
Yeah, they took advantage. Yeah,
because I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
When it's something that I care about, when it's something that's my responsibility, I dive all the way in. Hence again, protect your crown, right? Everything I did. So I did that for a couple of years. And then my assistant news director one day comes in and say, I'm going to the city of Detroit as the communications director, and I want you to come with me. You're just my boss. We didn't have a relationship like that, but I'm like, okay, you think enough of me. So went home, talked to the wife, and prayed on it, and there I was, working with the city of Detroit. So I was a communications coordinator in the morning. So I started early in the morning when the news station, when early news comes on. I was there. So I would be the person called, hey, anything going on? Anything going on? So remember back in the day, we have been in front of this, water, this leaky fountain or whatever. We've been calling the city for 3 hours, 8 days. That never happened when I was in that spot because I would call them, say, what you got going on? By the time they went on air, it was fixed already. So they stopped giving me the information. And this was during the Kilpatrick administration. So I worked in the Kilpatrick administration, in the mayor's office. Yeah, we weren't, I wasn't hanging out in the parties or anything, but that's the kind of talent that brother had. He had some, I mean, I'm just telling you what I was told.
Right. No. It was the quiet drop of it, though. You know, because listen, you know, we've been acting like we got sense today because, you know, you are here, so we are using our adult, so Kwame's supposed to be coming on the show soon, so
that's what's up.
But yeah, go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
So I did, I was the communications coordinator for 9 months, and then they needed somebody over at the police department to work in communications. So I was second deputy chief. And whenever you have a number in front of your title, it means you're a civilian. So I was not a sworn police officer. Didn't go through the police academy, any of that stuff, but I had a badge, had a gun, had a title. I wasn't just going around. I didn't have a arresting power, but the gun was because when in Rome, do as the Romans, right? That's what we do. Never used it, anything like that. And as a matter of fact, I had a situation where I'm so thankful that I didn't use it, but came very close. It was a guy who was deaf. I had my nieces and nephews, they playing ball up front. And this guy just coming over. And I'm like, yo, what's up? You know, and he's still coming. And but something made me pause because I'm like trying to figure out what's going on with these my nieces and my nephews. That's my world, right? Sure. But I paused enough, and then once he got close, he started signing. I'm like, boy.
That would have changed everything.
Right? Yeah. The whole thing. That was when I was at DPD. So while I was there for 5 years, and I kept getting people say, man, you know, you're a pretty decent dude. You might want to run for council. Well, I ain't running for no council. What? Nah, that's not happening. Run for council. I'm, again, dealing with those things I told you about, right? The anxiety, everything, all this stuff. So I'm like, no, this is not for me. But once again, prayed on it. And I was looking at it, and I was saying, man, the city was twirling down the drain.
Yeah, back then, 14 years ago.
And we talking about 09.
It was tough right after the 08 and all of that.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible. Twirling down the drain. Trash wasn't getting picked up. We weren't closing any cases. We were constantly getting more crime. I mean, wasn't paying bills. So we knew we were headed towards.
Lost 1 million people almost.
Lost 1 million people, right? Yeah. And I'm like, why would I want to do that? But then I thought, I trust myself. I know I'm a hard worker. I dive all the way in. So after, back and forth, don't do it, don't do it, and getting the blessings from my wife as well, because when we do this, it's a partnership.
You gotta have that.
I decided to run, and that was in April. And what was really cool, and this is the thing again about having a strong partner. She said, you need to quit your job because you don't want anybody saying that you were campaigning on city time. I was like, dang, that makes sense. So, and she, held it down. She held it down for 9 months. My wife held it down. Now, I held it down for her.
Years, for sure.
A couple of years prior when she was doing her thing. I got you. So, find you somebody good, right?
That's your hard camera right there for dramatic effect.
Find somebody good. Find the right person for you. Forget all that other stuff. Sometimes it don't look like you want it to look. But that's for you.
Listen.
That's for you.
Hey, he is not capping. That's what I would say. He is not lying. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you keep cooking as we say.
Right. So I mean, and what was interesting when I decided to run, I went to the police department. We had executive board, and I said, well, I'm going to be running for city council. I'm going to be leaving, but I want to thank you for the opportunity. And within 2 hours. Breaking news, Second Deputy Chief James Tate running for city council. I have nothing set up. Didn't have a website, didn't have literature, didn't have a team, nothing. So now I'm scrambling. And I took it very seriously, but it's hard when you're a new candidate, and especially when you got all these big names. And at that time, we didn't have these districts. It was that year, 168 people ran for 9 seats, and I was one of them. It was
crazy. You were chosen. You were chosen. Yeah.
And when the primary came down, it was even scarier because I was out of those 9. I came in 11th place out of 18. It was whittled down to 18 spots, and I was in 11th place. So I was like, man, all these people, because along the way when people telling you,
man.
right? along the way, while people telling you, "Yeah, you the man, you can do it, you can do it," you got other people saying, "Nah, you ain't the one." And who did I think about when I came in 11th place? The ones that told me, "What you think? What?" Came in 11th place, but again, I grind, I work, I pull the right folks around me, and I care, and people saw that, and I ended up having the 7th highest vote count that year, and
That's
made
crazy.
it. And it's been, it's been good. It's been
14 years later.
14 years later, and
You've
it feels
seen a
like
lot. You've seen a lot. You've had a lot of people come.
Emergency management.
A lot of other members of that council
that
too.
as
That's
well.
been,
and the interesting thing is, those same people that came my way, and I had to do the matrix on them.
Oh yeah,
They came my way, and I was so thankful that I had the right mind to say, "Nah, I'm good."
No, integrity goes a long way, man. That's one thing I can tell that you have already. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Two-parent household. You always give accolades to your parents for making sure that you had everything that you needed. You didn't have to struggle growing up. You were a hard worker because you wanted to be.
Blessed.
You wasn't like, oh, I gotta make it out of nowhere. Like you already, but you grew up and you did something for yourself. And bro, I think you've done something for the city. That's amazing, having a strong black man that's a family man, and ain't no wiggle room in there. I'll just put it on that way. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tmell, go ahead before I get me in him in trouble.
Yeah, so again, now with the Protect Your Crown, right? Now I know it's like still in the early stages of it, but do you have any idea on like if you'll be looking into opening facilities, in the near future? Like a not exactly like Eloise, but something like those facilities, since a lot of those have been closed.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. So right now, in addition, we have a song, it's a theme song that's attached to it to help drive the campaign. But the most important piece that we have is a survey. And this survey is 19 questions. The survey is confidential. We're asking people some real questions, about your mental health. And we don't want to know who you are. We just want to know what zip code you live in. So we want to know what's going on in different parts of the city. We're targeting 5,000 responses, which is huge. But it's doable in a city like ours, especially if we just tell folks about the importance and they understand and they see it and it's visible. But that survey, the responses that we get from that survey is going to better help us as a city understand what the state of mental health is in the city of Detroit. We kind of know, but we want to hear it from Detroiters, right? And then when we get beyond that, the other reason why it's important is because that survey, the responses we get from the survey, it's going to help us better identify the resources that we need to pull in to help our folks. So there very well may be some additional beds. As a matter of fact, we partner with this organization called DWIN, and they are tremendous when it comes to referrals and service and mental health. And we're going to be opening up, we're going to actually be doing a groundbreaking in my district, 7 Mile and Southfield area. Groundbreaking 4 new beds for mental health treatment. So awesome. Excited about that. I'll say, it always feels good when you hear about an idea and being a council member, being able to say, yes, you can do it. You know what I mean? So people think we have S on our chest and we can do any and everything we want to, and we try and we try and we try, but it always feels good when you're finally able to get some things across the threshold that's really, really hard. And it's going to make a real difference. And I believe this is going to make a difference. And that's that groundbreaking, I believe, is on Tuesday.
That's dope.
Blessing.
Talk to me about what District 1 means to you.
District 1 is the place where I grew up, where I was born and raised, went to school. Everything pretty much of significance in my life happened in District 1. Got married in Southfield, but outside of that, everything really happened in District 1. And all the schools that I went to, and I remind folks, and this is the other thing I tell kids, where you are is not where you have to end. From the time, even with my strong 2-parent household, I was a boy. Yeah. Right?
In
and
Detroit.
I still had in Detroit
for sure.
with my crew. So from the time I was in kindergarten to the time I graduated high school, I was either kicked out, put back, or transferred 9 times. So that's my journey. Right?
Yeah.
But because I had those strong parents that would not allow me to just fall into the system, I owe it to them to do what I can to make them proud. And for a while, I'll tell you, it was because a lot of folks have that story about this single parent, story and how tough it was. I didn't have that, so I felt like ashamed. And it's crazy, you feel ashamed because you have what others would like and deserve. deserve.
They like,
right?
oh man, you got your daddy's boy, man.
Yeah.
Shut up, I ain't seen my daddy since birth.
Yeah. And you lose all credit. Right?
You ain't tough.
But what about
go
me?
home.
Nah, you got 2 parents. Y'all got food on the table.
Right. You got
it's like,
your shoes fit.
We all should have that. And we should not, and again, telling the kids, reminding them, if you have it, don't dumb yourself down. That just means you have a higher level of responsibility when you finally do get what you are wherever you're going. But District 1 to me is the place where I lay my head. I know the landscape. I know the people. It's just really, really special. I remember being when I was first elected, it was at large. And for those who don't know, at large means just you're there, right? We were 9 council members in charge of the entire city of Detroit. And what would happen, and what would happen was people would call or send an email. I'll give you a great example. They'll send an email with all 9 council members on it. Let's say it's on the east side. I'm a west sider, right? Been west side, like I said, District 1 my entire life. That's but somebody sent an email about this street on the east side I ain't never heard of. You know, the east side sometimes got these one-way streets and stuff, right? Never heard of it. So I'm like, well, somebody's gonna take care of it. They sent it to 9 of us. So I'll just go to the other ones that and that happened over and over again, and everybody was pretty much doing the same thing, right?
Man.
So nobody was taking care of those residents' issues. Wow. So then what came to the table from the community was we need districts. So now we have council members that's going to be responsible for me. And at first it felt for me like it was a overreaction to the Kwame Kilpatrick issue, right? They continue to say, we need to, and it was because the real push came from outside of the city. And I'm like, y'all trying to dictate how we do things again.
Like that emergency city manager that they brought in.
Oh, man.
I ain't gonna never forget that, Detroit.
I won't either.
Let that down.
I won't either. But I'm like on the outside looking in, so we gotta change this, right? We gotta do something different. And just to see the journey from where we were then to where we are today, being able to touch again projects. I mean, Brightmoor, very special to me. But now being able to move some things in Brightmoor after all this time, getting the federal government to pay attention to us, getting the administration to pay attention to us. It's special. I love District 1. These are my people. Every month, I'm the only council member, at least for the last 10 years, been having 3 community meetings every month. That's a lot
I
of
YouTubed
engagement.
about that. You definitely do. There were 2 things that I noticed about you. 3 really, but 2 is, one was the mental health thing. One was when you first started, I used to help black men a lot. Your focus was the black men and the family and the black men. And then my favorite one was getting a medicine pass for everybody.
Yeah.
You're very instrumental in that. Talk to me about what made you start to focus in that way to help us who need it.
Yeah, I felt I was forced to do it. Because I was like a lot of folks, especially as black people. Whenever you start talking about marijuana, cannabis, medicine, it always becomes you a weed head. Yeah. That's the only reason why you're doing it. I'm like, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like the issues. I don't feel like being caught with a stigma. With all this other stuff working on, I mean, that was back in 2014 when medical started coming in. So we emergency manager, still trying to figure out where we're going to be moving forward. Do I really want to be bogged down with that? But then I started seeing. I'm looking at all these folks who are owners. They don't look like me. No. The owners of these establishments, hold on. They don't live here. Even if they don't look like me, they don't even live in the city.
They own the liquor stores.
But the liquor stores are already there. That was before me. But I'm like, I can't allow that to happen on my watch. But you are absolutely right. It was a mixture. That's money on top of money, and it's leaving my city. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to get past this. I don't want people to talk bad about me. I don't want my seniors thinking of that. Bump all that. I'm going to bring the meeting to them. I'm going to bring the issue to them. I'm going to have them support it. So I never said, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. What I'm saying is, if it's going to be done, then we should also have the opportunity to do so. And so I fought hard, man, because the industry is a beast. It is. They will fight you in the court, but then they will try to bribe you behind doors, closed doors. I had one guy come up to me. It's happened actually a couple of times. They was like, "Yeah, Tate, I got $50,000 for you. $50,000. What can I put in your campaign?" It's like, I'm not running right now. Campaign's like 3 years from now. I don't need $50,000. Then another one come up, $10,000, whatever you need. I just need to talk to you. I don't need money just to have a conversation. What you want? Let's talk. But it was those kind of conversations that we're having. I'm like, wow. But our folks on the outside looking in, going, what you gonna do for us? Because they don't have those same amount of resources. They don't have the same connection. So for me, it was like, I gotta, once again, dive all the way in and make sure that it's not just free the weed in the city of Detroit, but it's free the weed, but make sure that it's legal. Some FUBU in there as well.
For sure.
And we fought, and it took 2 years. They took us to court time and time again, and we lost the first couple of rounds, so I had to change the ordinance a bit. And, you know, a lot of people say, you watered it down. Well, that's because I had to water some of it down, because the first ordinance I had, it was a beast. It was all about Detroit, and had to, you know, when the federal court say, no, we're not going to allow that to go through, you got to double back, take a look at it. I got the support of the administration. I got to say that Mayor Duggan, to his credit, this wasn't his issue either. You know, white guy, city of Detroit, still trying to figure it out. But he supported me in this. He didn't take the lead, but he supported me in it. So he made sure that the law department was always on point. He made sure that when it came time for a public opportunity to talk about it, that it was raised, and it was raised in the right way. It wasn't just, again, we need to make sure that we free the weed in the city of Detroit. We had to make sure that we ensure that Detroiters, especially black Detroiters, have an opportunity to participate in this industry. Cannot guarantee success, but what we can do is provide you the best opportunity to compete for success.
It's so true. For me, I think it's like, if you tell me the difference between taking all these medicines that they're making just so that I can be calm and I can go and eat a gummy with God's green earth in it and be exactly as calm, and those crazy drivers don't bother me or whatever is happening in life, like, I'm going to do what I need to do for that. And I'm grateful, because they were trying to put me on a lot of medicines. And I just said no, you know what I mean? Like, my sons was like, Dad, what's this zipper cam? I'm like, bro, I don't know, but I ain't taking it. In the bag it goes, because yes, I battle, you know, with mental health issues, and it's a real thing. So I am grateful, you know, for that myself, for you doing, if nothing else, for the city.
Yes, sir.
The Reverend Son said thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, T-Man. I know you got one more for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, with Protect Your Crown, like you said, you have the survey for people to fill out and everything like that, but what else do you feel that the Detroiters can do, you know, to help, you know, with mental health, like as far as with one another? Because I think that people don't take into consideration sometimes when a person may be dealing with something, you know, or like you were saying with the stigma that like weed has, like, and how people, like, you know, kind of ostracize those people. Like, what is it you feel like the citizens can do, like, to assist in protecting the crown as well?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we can do is first recognize that everybody's going through something. So don't take it so offensively if they don't, again, call you back because they didn't come to your party, because they didn't fill in the blank. Talk to them, ask them what's up, because you may learn so much more about that person, what they're going through, and then it gives you the freedom also, if you like, to express how you feel and what's going on in your life. We don't talk enough about what we're going through. We again have that mask. We have that mask and we keep it on all the time. And I think it's important to, again, normalize these conversations with young people as much as possible. And not just say, it's okay to not be okay. What does that mean? Young people don't have any understanding of what that means. What that means is, we need you to take your time. Take your 10 seconds. Take your hour. Take whatever it is. And honestly, the other piece to it is some people do have to take that medication.
Yeah, some of them do, yeah, for sure.
Some have to take that medication. Some have to get therapy. Some can just go and ball for 10 minutes and get it out of their system, right? Whatever it is, find your thing and lean into it.
I noticed that work-life balance goes into a lot of, like, helps a lot with mental health. You know, having that work-life balance, understanding that I am at my max right now and I have to take a woosah. You know, when I was a program director, I had 7 different programs to run. Salvation Army was taking a hit because, listen, HUD was wearing me out. You know what I mean? And you have to be honest and say, right? It's a lot. But like they say, to whom much is given, much more is required, right? So It's kind of walking that thin line and understanding like your mental health, you know. So
I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
too, because I think another issue that we deal with, and it's unfortunate because it's like people take pride in fighting for the country, you know. Like Nikki Steve, you know, he's a veteran, and I think a lot of mental issues like wear down on like the veterans from what they leave out of somewhat what is a normal environment and go to the, you know, it's like fearful survival, you know, type of environment.
Oh yeah.
So Nikki Steve, man, share what you feel that you think could help like protecting the crown, being a veteran.
Man, you just gotta be open to receiving the help, man. If you're not in a good space, you know, you just gotta ask for the help. You know what I'm saying? Check on your people. You know, all the time I text you like, man, mental health check. You know, just on random day of the week. But it was crazy when I was out there in Germany. I was out there for maybe a month or so. I met a guy at a Thanksgiving dinner. Real cool dude, had a beautiful family, two kids. Probably a week and a half later, I get a call from the kid's godmom like, yeah, such and such passed away. I'm like, why did he pass away? Yeah, he committed suicide. Can you cut his son's hair for the memorial? I'm like, okay. So that was like my intro, you know what I'm saying? Being out there in the military, how real it is. You know, people getting deployed all the time, and they give the whole spiel like, take care of your mental health. Like if you need a moment, you need a moment. At the end of the day, like being in the military, like you in that contract, they own you. You know what I'm saying? They own you. You feel me? You gonna work when they tell you to work. They can say all the right things like mental health this, mental health that, but suicide rate was real high out there, man. But you gotta be willing to, you know, reach out for the help if you need
have
like,
these open conversations
for
like
real.
this, bro.
Your life is more important than, you know, than anything else you're going through. Your life is more important, you know.
Well, you know, and the thing for us in the city, we've got to also make it more accessible, the information accessible to people, because there's a lot of folks who are ready to make that plunge, but they don't know where to start. It's very intimidating. If I wanted to go get some mental health treatment, where do I start? Do I call 911?
311 or something like that.
Right. Because those numbers have not been promoted. It was 988 is the number that came up that they came up with, but it's not heavily
For
promoted.
suicide prevention.
Yep.
But a lot of times though, what you can do is that if you just call whoever you're insured through, if you call your insurance, they'll tell you who they cover for mental health services. If it's psychotherapy, actual psychiatry, like, you know, just call your insurance. They'll tell you what they cover, what companies, you know. That's one way that I know of at least. But
So you're hitting on something that we talked about in the office, because a lot of people don't even know they have that you're covered with mental health, with your benefits, that you're covered with mental health treatments. There's also some legislation in Lansing right now. Again, Protect Your Crown is awareness, but also advocacy. There's some some bills that are in Lansing right now that would have insurance companies treat mental health in the same way they treat physical health in terms of how they pay it. So the way that a physical health ailment that you have, they can't just stop in the middle of treatment, right? They have to continue until you're well. Now they'll bill you and do all that stuff later, but they with mental health, they can stop. Literally stop in the middle, and you're not done
All
yet.
because of
It's a
insurance.
journey, right?
It happened to me. I lost my job when I lost my job. I had my insurance going. I lost my job because of my podcast, but we still here.
Right.
Anyway, and I'm back working. Ooh, I want to say something else, but anyway, bro. So when they cut my insurance, my therapy stopped, you know, and I had to pay out of pocket $75 a week, and I was just like, I don't have no job. I'm not paying that. I'm so right there, but it's just grateful that I have a relationship with my therapist, and I was able to, you know, get back into it as of June 1st, but. You know, I'm an advocate of anything that has to do with mental health, anything that has to do with therapy, doing the work, you know, because a lot of us struggle with these things, whether it's internally, and have been a lot of us since childhood, whether it's abandonment or absenteeism. A lot of these things play a part into our mental health. So I think today's discussion was awesome. I want to thank our, go ahead and say it so I can say it right, Council President Pro Tem.
Yes.
James Tate for
Jr.
stopping by the Cobain Report. We're going to give everybody one round to let them know where to find you at and what you have going. I'm going to start with our of course, Pro Tem, illustrious guest, right? Councilman President James Tate. Let us know where to find you at, what you have going on. We know the campaign. We are pushing the campaign. We continue to talk about mental health because we want to push this campaign. That's why this entire episode has been dedicated to mental health awareness. Ching, ching. Okay? So go ahead, let them know where to find you and all the good stuff.
So on IG, you can find me at Councilman Tate Jr. You can find me there. We're on Facebook, Councilman James Tate. We have the survey, and I want to continue to tell folks where you can find that survey. Make it real easy. Just go to Google, type in Protect Your Crown Detroit. That's usually the very first thing that pops up, because if I tell you Detroit, MI.gov, people not remember that. So go to Google, Protect Your Crown Detroit. That's that first link. We're looking for people to participate. But we also have a theme song that we talked about to help move this, and it is called Protect Your Crown and All the Way Down. Yes. That's important. It's not just up here. Things you put in your body, and the movement or lack of movement also affects your mental health. So Protect Your Crown and All the Way Down. And you can find that on all major music platforms.
So we're going to have Uncle Ray put the link in, and we're going to put up the QR code.
Yes.
So they're able to scan on the screen and go there and take that survey. They don't know where you're located if you don't put the zip code. Make sure you put the zip code. It's very important. T-Mail, what you got going?
Check us out. Again, follow us on YouTube, The Cobain Report. Like, comment, subscribe. Continue to help us bless the skitty. And that's bless_Detroiter. We want to appreciate the illustrious guest that we have here in the City Councilman, James Tate Jr. Very, very grateful for having you, and hoping everything goes as you plan with this movement that you have going on, because it's really needed.
Yes, it is. Nikki Steve, what you got going, brother?
See, it's about 5:09 right now. C's. I know you just got off your flight about 10 minutes ago and you in baggage claim. Wow. This will not happen again.
We miss our buddy, man. Caesar, we do miss you,
Shout out to C's, man. Shout out to C's. You can find me on, I'm only on IG, but you can find me on IG at Nicky Stee, NICKYSTEEE. Also, man, I just dropped a song, so come around. It's out. Everybody loving it. You can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you listen to your music at digital platforms at Nicky Stee, spelled the same way. Man, what else? Maddie Whitney.
Yeah.
Maddie Whitney might as well. Yeah, we getting ready to roll Maddie Whitney out. So we're going to get her a good record. Yeah. It's about that time. Yeah. We need to get you an album.
No, man. So
anybody need me on the remix?
So listen, I don't know why the devil has started playing in my allergies during this episode, but I fought to get through this one right here. This has been a great episode. I am so grateful. I don't know how many times I can say that, because we've only started 6 months ago, to be able to.
That's crazy to me.
To be able to bring in our city council president.
And I'm honored.
No, we're honored. We're honored, just to be honest with you, So I am so grateful for you being able to come on this platform and to be able to talk about something that we all need to talk about, which is mental health. So I want to thank you for coming out. You guys like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to take a Benadryl for dramatic effect. Okay? And as I always say, it's a wrap, y'all. I ain't going to say it because it got a count.